Hello and welcome back to another speed build. Today we're going to be finishing off the house that I started yesterday. This is for my Not So Berry challenge. It is for that sim in the top left corner. Yes, that is my mint sim. I disagree with the color of that hair in the game being mint. It's kind of more of like an aqua to me, or I don't know, it's a little bit darker, but it's not necessarily a teal because a teal is a little bit more green, I'd say. But that is my mint sim for Gen 1 of the Not So Berry challenge. That is Pepper Berry. Pepper is in peppermint. I was quite proud of the name that I gave her as opposed to just calling her Mint or, you know, next gen. Instead of calling them just Rose, I have Reed, which supposedly means red in a different language. I forget if that's true or not. And then we also have Rosie, and you know, it's a little on the nose to call her Rosie, but I didn't want to copy like a couple of my favorite simmers and the names that they used, so I went with Rosie and I thought it was pretty cute, and I went with Reed. And because I'm kind of on the fence, I don't know which of the two that I want to be my heir for the next gen. In my head I figured whoever's born first should be the heir, but also I like the idea of each gen like being a matriarch and being like a female sim. So then we have Rosie, but I'm really attached to Reed. I think he's super cute. I kind of worry, given like who his dad is, I worry how he'll turn out. I know that's not actually how it works in The Sims, but in real life you would kind of worry about that sort of thing because his dad, not the best person. If you've seen my series, he had a girlfriend and got my mint sim Pepper pregnant. They were next door neighbors too, and it was a whole ordeal, and he wouldn't leave his girlfriend for Pepper. So then Pepper started dating and met Daniel, and then Daniel seemed to be pretty jealous of Pepper with Reed, her first kid. So then he immediately was like, oh, I want to try for a baby with you. And then they had a baby together. And now I have two babies, a toddler and an infant. And the house is kind of a nightmare for me to play in at the moment because I don't like dealing with the toddlers, infants, or the babies in the game. I mean, the babies are fine. They don't do a whole lot, but yeah, I'm not enjoying it. I'm so excited for them both to age up, and I'm excited to see how they look when they're aged up, because initially I thought as an infant Reed looked a lot like his dad, and he still does, but once he aged up into a toddler I could kind of see a mix of both in him. He still has a very long head, and I feel like he gets that from his dad. It's a very interesting characteristic I'm noticing. But anyways, I'm kind of getting sidetracked from the build here, which I think I got most of the wallpaper on the outside picked out, and I feel so boring. I'm so sorry with the windows that I picked. I have a hard time branching out of like and using windows that are, I wouldn't say weird, but they're just not super plain or traditional like you'd see in real life. And I know I talk about a fair amount in my series that I like to play as realistically as possible. I also like having so much autonomy for my sims. I like having the MC command center because it allows them to do more of what they want to do and just do their own thing, rather than me having to push them to do something or having to have me to rely on the story to progress. They can kind of just do their own thing. I really like that. But I gotta say, because of it, we have two babies now, and we eloped immediately on a beach the same day we got engaged. It all happened so fast. If you haven't seen the series, it won't make as much sense, but if you have seen it, if you know, you know, basically. I'm kind of blanking. I'm not really sure what else to talk about. I kind of struggled with the roof once again, even going to the top floor because of that weird diagonal room. I didn't know if I should do, like, I forget what they're called. There's hipped and gabled. I didn't know if I should do one of the octagonal roofs or if I should just put like a flat square one down. And I think that's what I ended up going for. I think that's how the roof ended up. And here you'll see I kind of toyed around with the idea of having a ceiling, and I was like, oh, maybe we'll have a roof. Maybe we won't. I'm going to leave it with no roof and we'll circle back. And I ended up just leaving it with no roof because, I mean, I'm sorry, the shade would be really nice for your balcony on the upstairs floor, but that's just not going to happen with this house because it was too difficult to try and make it work and not have it look funny. And I think it looks good without one, but in The Sims, it doesn't really matter. Also, going on to the landscaping, it was kind of nice having that whole hedge, like at the very like edge lot. That whole hedge, what am I saying? I had like all this shrubbery at the very like edge of my lot in the backyard, and I was like, oh, that'd be perfect. I just put some more in, but they were two different colors, and I ended up just putting a fence down anyways because having a fence only on one side or even the two sides just kind of looked funny. So I put a fence down everywhere, and I ended up putting more bushes along the backside. So it's just 2 rows of these hedges and shrubbery, and it might look a little funny. I feel like it does. Also, looking back, I definitely am noticing I did not use debug for this house, which kind of explains why it was so expensive. When I went to move my family into this house, I thought, oh, they'll be able to afford it. It's been a couple more days in game. They've gone to work a couple more times. Yeah, no, we were 20,000 simoleons shy of being able to move into this house. It was a big ordeal for me. I was really disappointed because Pepper was about to have another baby. I was like, oh my gosh, we need to give like this kid an extra room. She can't just live in the parents' room. She can't live in Reed's room. She needs her own room. And yeah, this baby is still currently living in Pepper's room in her, what is it called, her crib. And I don't know, it's not ideal. Also, I'm kind of fidgeting with the idea of using terrain tools. I'm trying to see and make it work and see if I can learn how to incorporate it a little bit more, because it's a tool they gave us and it's a tool I would like to use, but I really never do because I don't know, using some terrain and then you look at the rest of the world and it's pretty flat on the ground, you're like, well, it's gonna look funny if I do it. It's also really hard to like landscape. It's kind of like when you furnish a large house, having a large yard to landscape, it's hard to fill the space. And I figured it's a good way to fill that space is using a really big tree. And then I used quite a few trees and I figured, oh, maybe they could be kind of privacy trees. And then I remembered we have rocks and I thought that would be a nice, more natural touch to put everywhere, along with some of the low-lying plants and a couple other fun flowers. I thought these, I think they're irises or maybe there's something else. I forget what they're called, but I thought they were super cute and pretty. So I put those everywhere. There was not a lot of minty plant colored options that I wanted to go for, so I kind of ended up just using a lot of blue. A lot of blue and a little bit of white just to kind of keep that neutral with the mint tone going. And I don't know if it actually makes it look good, but I like to put a little bit of like a dirt edge around the base of my house and around the edge of the pathway leading up to the house. I feel like it makes it look like it's meant to be there and it's not just this like harsh sidewalk slab on there. Like it's one thing on the actual sidewalk, and maybe I should have put like a little bit around the edge of the lot as well, but I mean, maybe I'll go back and do it. But I really enjoyed adding all these little clusters of plants everywhere, having the different kinds of ferns and then the little daisy bushes or whatever they're called. And I just think that part kind of turned out nice as it can be. And once I go down with the soil type terrain paint, I like going back over it with that like kind of muddied down grass type terrain paint. I forget what it's called or if it even has a name, but I like going back through and doing the edges with that after I put down the dirt one because it's a nice transition from grass to just dirt, I think. And I think it kind of, you can kind of see it under the fence right there, or under the gate right there. Oh my gosh, I kind of forgot the word of the gate, but you can kind of see it there, how it looks just like worn down grass. And it just makes like a nicer transition from like the stark green grass that we get in game to, you know, the dirt that would be existing under bushes and trees and places that, you know, people would be walking constantly. Yeah, looking back, I definitely spent way more than I thought I did on this house. I thought I only spent about 60,000 on the house because that's how much I remember looking and seeing. That's how much my Sims family was going to have. See right there, it says 60,000. And this lot, the lot that I built on, it must have been pretty expensive. I think it was like 5,000 simoleons just for the plot of land itself, because I thought to myself, oh, well, my Sims have this much money, their house is worth this much. We're not going to sell everything, but we'll be selling a lot of stuff. So, you know, they'll be able to move in here. And I don't know if bulldozing the lot actually gets you more money than just selling everything on the lot that you're not going to keep, but it might, because my Sims, they were, I can't believe they were 20,000 simoleons shy. It was insane, because in my head I was like, oh, they'll just work a couple days and be able to afford it. And unfortunately that was not the case. We did end up getting there in the end because Pepper, like the third time I tried to move them to see if they could afford it, Pepper had some stuff from work. I think it was the shower that you get from the scientist career, that weird incubation type shower. I ended up selling that because it was almost 3,000, and that put us just over the edge of being able to afford this house. I found a couple other things in her inventory that she had, and she also kept getting a lot of crystals and metals and elements that she already collected. We finished the collection, so I decided we don't need to keep extras. We're just going to sell off whatever we don't need, as well as that shower. So that gave us like a little over 1,000 left over, and then we were able to afford the house. And that kind of brings us to the end of the video. I don't remember if I put it on the gallery or not. I think I did. But yeah, it's a 3-bed, 3-bath. I think it's a pretty nice house for any family. You could just easily change the colors of stuff so it's not super minty. But hope you guys enjoyed the build, and I'll catch you next time.